hop off here, I just want to say, Dr. Sam, I've been dreaming about being able to hang out in the Bosnian pyramids. Literally, I've visualized that I'm there, and that even just visualizing being there feels good.
Yes, yes.
Beautiful. So hello, Dr. Sam. I'm just going to do your bio and then we'll get right into it. But I'm also planning to be there next year, Dr. Sam. So you're going to hear from me. It's in my calendar of the dates I'm going to go and everything. And I really want to come spend some time with you, and see if I can volunteer. But excited to have you back here, brother. And let me just tell everybody a little bit about Dr. Sam here. He's a scientist, megalithic and pyramid science researcher, internationally acclaimed author and businessman. He's Bosnian-born American citizen who lives and works in Houston and Sarajevo, and he has discovered the Bosnian Valley of pyramids that consist of at least 5 colossal pyramid structures and huge network of prehistoric underground tunnel network near the town of Visoko in central Bosnia. He's been principal investigator of the project from 2005 to present, and he holds a PhD on Mayan pyramids. Author of 18 books on pyramids around the world and ancient civilizations that has been translated into 17 languages since 1986. He's elected first honorable citizen of the town of Visoko and Man of the Year in Bosnia in 2007 and received plaque for outstanding achievement from Zenica cantonal government. So thank you for being here, brother. What are you going to be sharing with us today?
Well, thanks a lot. I'm going to be talking about the Bosnian pyramid healing energy. After 4 decades of research of ancient civilizations and the pyramids, this is what I concluded. Almost everything they teach us about the ancient history is wrong. The origin of man, civilizations, and pyramids. For pyramids, they are telling us that Egyptian pyramids were used as tombs for pharaohs. However, there are 155 pyramids on Egyptian soil, not 118, as non-scientific Wikipedia claims. 155. I have researched, investigated, and wrote about all of them. Not in a single one, the mummy of the pharaoh was discovered. Now, the pharaoh were buried, not in the Valley of Kings. It's almost 300 kilometers, 140 miles to the south from the Giza Plateau. The second thing they're teaching us wrong about the pyramids is that they were built in Egypt and Mexico. In reality, they were built on all 6 continents. In Australia, we have a Gympie pyramid, 1.5 hours to the north from Brisbane on the eastern coast. In Asia, we have 250 Chinese pyramids in the central province of Shanxi. 20 largest ones are built more than 12,500 years back. They were built from the superior materials, sandstone and granite. And then there are smaller ones, built from 2,300 years back until 1,000 before present. They were built from the mud bricks. Now, in Asia, we also have pyramids in Cambodia. Besides the pyramidal temples in Angkor Wat, we have beautiful 7-tier Koh-Ker pyramid in northern Cambodia. It is 4-sided, perfectly oriented to the cardinal points. It has water around. It has 2 energetically potent materials, volcanic stones, iron, and a sandstone, quartz crystal. It has a tunnel going straight down at 90 degrees and resonance chambers. Now, we can see that there are several elements that are very important to determine the purpose of pyramids. Now, in Western Java, our friend Dr. Danny Hillman discovered Gunung Padang Pyramid. It's about 28,000 years old. and requires that history of Southeastern Asia is to be changed. Africa, besides the pyramids in Egypt, we have 224 Nubian pyramids in northern Sudan, 7 pyramids on the island of Mauritius, built from the volcanic stones. They are stepped in design and their orientation is to the east, to the sunrise during the summer solstice. There are 104 pyramids on Canary Islands, most of them located in Tenerife. There are pyramids in South America, more than 300 of them in Peru. Acapena Pyramid Complex in Bolivia, made from beautiful granite material. Obviously, the granite blocks were machined. And that pyramid complex is older than 12,000 years. The Central American pyramids, the Mayan pyramids, were built in 5 Central American countries: Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, and Belize. This was the topic of my PhD, my doctoral dissertation. I realized that there are more than 100,000 Mayan pyramids, and 97% of them are still covered by soil, vegetation, forest. There are also pyramids in the United States of America. They don't teach us about them, but Cahokia National Park in southwestern Illinois is home to 120 pyramids. The biggest one, the Monk's Mound, as they called it, is 11% larger surface than the Great Pyramid of Egypt. In Europe, 3 pyramids in Spain, in the little village of Palencia. Italy, 5 pyramid complexes, plus 43 pyramids on island of Sicily, 1 in Sardinia, 16 ancient Greek pyramids, and finally, the Bosnian pyramids. In April of 2005, I first came to little Bosnian town of Visoko, about 30 minutes away from the capital city of Sarajevo. I came to visit the local museum, but what really caught my attention was this hill, as everybody called it. And I could see 4 sides, 4 triangular faces, obvious corners, and the same slope from bottom to the top. I took compass, and compass showed me that those sides perfectly match cardinal points: east, west, north, and south. And this is how the pyramids were built. Mother Nature does not make hills with 4 triangular faces and perfect orientation, but intelligent hands. Back in 2005, I started preliminary research as the physical person. Everything we did, geological core drilling, archaeological trenches, lab analysis, they were telling me anomalies, anomalies, anomalies. It could not be explained by the natural geological processes. The following year, 2006, I established non-profit, non-government foundation under the name Archaeological Park Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun Foundation. And we started archaeological research on a very large scale. I had hundreds of volunteers, dozens of archaeologists, geologists, Egyptologists, biologists, and other classical scientists, but also high-tech experts, georadar analysis, geothermal analysis, satellite analysis, and then later on, experts in energy phenomena, such as physicists, electrical engineers, sound engineers, telecommunication engineers, medical doctors. I also opened the project to the spiritual scientists, people with the gifts, in order to get a complete answer a big picture about the purpose of this pyramid complex. And this is what we've concluded after 17 years of research. In the heart of Bosnia, we have at least 6 pyramidal structures, which we named the Bosnian Pyramids of the Sun, Moon, Dragon, Earth, Love, and the 6th pyramid. Then the tumuli complex. Tumuli, or tumulus. Tumulus is, in archaeology, conical artificial hill. We have 2 of them. And so far we have discovered 6 entrances to prehistorical underground tunnels. We have cleared more than 2 miles of those tunnels. So it's a huge discovery, which changes the history books. These are the first pyramids in Europe. They are the biggest, largest on the planet. The Great Pyramid of Egypt, 146.6 meters. The Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, over 360 meters. The Great Pyramid of Egypt, 6 million tons of materials. The Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, almost 10 times more the volume. The next element, the orientation to the north. So far, we thought that the Great Pyramid of Egypt has the best orientation. The error from the perfect cosmic north is 0 degrees and 3 minutes. The Khafre, or Kefre, the second largest pyramid in Egypt, 0 degrees and 3 minutes. Myceren, 0 degrees 18 minutes. A Red Pyramid, 0 degrees 5 minutes. Bent Pyramid in Lakshur, 0 degrees 12 minutes. In China, all the pyramids, I measured them, oriented to the north. Peru, north. Some Mexican, north. Cahokia pyramids, north. Indonesia, Cambodia, north. However, according to the Bosnian State Institute for Geodesy, the error to the north in the case of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun is 0 degrees, 0 minutes, and only 12 seconds. That's the most precise orientation on the planet. The next element that changes the history. About 4 feet under the soil, through our archaeological research, we've been discovering concrete blocks. Some of them rectangular, some of them square blocks. After we analyzed them in 7 institutes for material, Politecnico di Torino in Turin, Italy, Geopolymer Institute in France under the Professor Davidovits, Institute in Czech Republic, Slovakia, Bosnia, they all told us that it was artificially made concrete material. Some people call it geopolymer concrete, some people call it synthetic concrete. If you have concrete, then you can determine the quality based on 2 elements. The first one is hardness. Harder the concrete, better the quality, because it is more durable. Our concrete today reaches 60 megapascal, made in Germany, made in USA. The concrete on the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, after we are analyzed 50 samples, 50, is in the range from 74 to 155 megapascals. We cannot, using modern technology, make such hard concrete today. The second element of quality is water absorption. If the water can get inside the concrete blocks during the winter time, under the freezing temperatures, then the water freezes. And the ice has a tendency to grow, to expand. and concrete breaks. Therefore, we keep our standards very low on water absorption, up to 3%. The concrete from the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, only 1% superior. So we have the best quality material. The next element is the age. The traditional mainstream science is telling us that the history of advanced civilizations is about 7,000 years, Sumerian. As a matter of fact, 30 years ago, Encyclopedia Britannica was claiming Sumerians are about 5,000, and 50 years ago they were saying Sumerians are about 3,500. So we can see that we go deeper and deeper in the past. And then they are telling us the next advanced societies were those of Babylon, Akkad, Assyria, Hittites, ancient Greek, ancient India, ancient Egypt, ancient China, and so on and so forth. As a matter of fact, in the last couple of decades, we've seen a lot of revolutionary discoveries. Some of them, southeastern Turkey, Göbekli Tepe. Not 3, not 6 megalithic circles, but 100 of them buried under the soil. Officially, 11,600 years, but through the radiocarbon dating, it's about 13,600 years. And Dr. Klaus Schmidt, late Professor Schmidt, before he died, he told me most probably the age 15 to 18,000. So we can see that even the age of the advanced societies is going deeper and deeper in the past. But in the case of the Bosnian Pyramid, this is what we have. In the last 16 years, we've done 28 radiocarbon dating and uranium thorium analysis. And based on several leaves that we discovered between the concrete blocks, between the 2 rows of blocks, the age that we got was 29,200 years, plus minus 400 years. So we go back for almost 30,000 years, it's radiocarbon age. However, in order to get calibrated date or calendar age, we need to add 14 to 15%. So the real age of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun is 33,600 years. What was happening then? According to the mainstream archaeologists and historians, nothing. They're telling us that's the era of the primitive caveman. Well, if we consult some of the major artifacts discovered in Egypt and Sumeria, we will find different conclusions. Maybe the most important artifact from ancient Egypt is so-called Turin King List in Turin or Torino, northwestern Italy. It's papyrus, which is about 6 feet long, 1.5 feet high. And there we can see 11 columns in hieroglyphic symbols. And they represent 3 different phases of Egyptian rulers. And they listed them all. The third, the last phase, which started 5,100 years back, is the era of the sons of gods. They are better known as the kings or the pharaohs. Pharaohs, ancient Greek word. Now, the pharaohs actually never used that term. They claimed that they were sons of gods, showing their divine origin. But everything started with King Menes 5,100 years ago. And then, we have Zero Dynasty, First Dynasty, Second, Third, Fourth Dynasty, the pharaohs of Khufu, Cheops, Khephren, Meseren, and so on. But they were ordinary men. They would rule Egypt 2 years, 19 years, 22 years, or 67 years as Ramesses II, Ramesses the Great. The phase before this one was called the era of the demigods or semi-gods. They would rule Egypt 200 or 300 years each. And the first phase was the phase of gods with a small g. And the first gods ascended from the sky to the kingdom of earth. When? 42,500 years ago. Even more important artifacts is discovered in ancient Sumeria. It's called Sumerian King List. Over there, we have those three phases which perfectly match Egyptian ones, but the first phase, the fourth phase, in their case, started 273,000 years ago. So as we can see, on this planet, we did have era and very advanced civilization lived, constructed their structures, and probably they were teaching the earthlings about their knowledge and skills. Going back to the Bosnian pyramids, the three major pyramids, the pyramids of the sun, moon, and dragon, when we connect their tops from sun to the moon, 2,180 meters, about 1.3 miles. From moon to the dragon, 2,180. From dragon back to the sun, 2,180. Somebody mentioned equilateral triangle. Well, this is a perfect example of the equilateral triangle. And this is a part of the sacred geometry. Are the elements of sacred geometry hexagon? Number pi, 3.14. Number phi, golden section, 1.618, or spiral Fibonacci formula, or the golden section spiral. So the ancients were applying the elements of sacred geometry in order to get the movement of the energy. In the case of Egyptian pyramids, the beginning of this golden section spiral is at the King Tut's tombs. And then once you open the spiral, we have those three pyramids laying on this line. Or number pi, 3.14. The length at the Giza, largest pyramid, 231 meters, two lengths of the side, 462, divided by height, 147. The result is 3.14. Which is odd. They are telling us that this pyramid was built 4,550 years back by the pharaoh of the 4th dynasty. However, at that time, Egyptians did not know about the number pi or about the number phi. Only 2,000 years later, with the ancient Greek mathematicians, those numbers will become known to the humanity. And of course, Egyptians during the 4th dynasty, or a little bit before, or a little bit after, did not have engineering skills or knowledge to build such monumental structures. They were built much, much before the end of the last ice age. During our archaeological project in Bosnia, we realized that archaeology is not enough to answer the major questions that we have in archaeology. And there are 5 of them. The first one is what? What is this? In our case, it's a pyramid complex with the structures above and below the ground. The second question, who? So far, we can say it's more advanced civilization than ours. Not only because they were able to manipulate with tens of millions of tons of material, but also because they knew frequencies, very specific frequencies that are beneficial for different aspects of our life. Number 3, when? More than 30,000 years back. Question number 4, how? Well, we are finding the best quality concrete. And the question number 5, why? the purpose. Experts in energy phenomena are helping us to answer that question. On the very top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, we have measured existence of the energy beam, which is electrical in nature, 28 kilohertz frequency. It's continuous because we've been measuring it during the 4 seasons, spring, summer, fall, and winter, and it is focused exactly to the path of our sun. In the morning, it's moved a little bit to the east, noontime, south, afternoon, southwest, evening, west. Now, in science, this phenomenon is called Tesla's scalar waves. Tesla, of course, is the brilliant mind of Nikola Tesla, who 123 years ago was investigating the subtle, the soft energies. In the last 50 years, these are the Russian physicists that have been talking and researching this phenomenon, concluding that the scalar waves or scalar fields move much, much quicker than the speed of light. And therefore, they are ideal media to transport the energy, to transport the information. Our conclusion, the first potential purpose of pyramids is communication device. The second purpose is to protect what is the most precious to us, and that would be our health. In some of our tunnels, open for the public, we have tens of thousands of visitors every year. As a matter of fact, in 2018, 40,000 visitors, 2019, 50,000, 2020, 78,000, 2021, 136,000. This year, I expect between 150 and 200,000. So, tens of thousands of visitors entering the tunnels, under the ground, 100 feet under the ground, going real deep, hundreds and hundreds of feet. They breathe better inside the tunnels than outside. And we have only one entrance. As a matter of fact, deeper you go, you're going to be breathing better than outside. Not very logical, but nothing in Bosnia is logical. People with respiratory problems, asthma, for example, once they go inside, when they get outside, they don't need a pump, inhalator. People with a high blood pressure, let's say 180 over 120, they go inside, they come back, 120 over 80, like the astronaut. People with the high glucose in the blood, high sugar in the blood, one visit, the glucose dropped 5, 7, 8, or even 10 points. There is no medicine that can reduce your sugar in the blood for 8 points in 45 minutes, except the visit to the Bosnian Pyramid tunnels. People with the pains, in most cases, pains are known. People with the very serious diseases, Alzheimer, to tumors, and cancers, we can see revolutionary improvement of the health. So, the second potential purpose of the pyramid energy is to protect our health. How do we explain that? Well, we always say we are not in the healing business. Our foundation is not giving medical guarantees, but we measure using scientific instruments. And this is what we have measured. There are 9 measurable energy phenomena. The first 5 is the absence of all harmful radiations. The first one is the cosmic radiation. If we accept the fact that our planet is the spherical, is a sphere, not a flat Earth, then a lot of radiations are coming our ways. Some of them are harmful. Our body cells are fighting those enemies. In the Bosnian Pyramid tunnels, no harmful radiation. The second one is natural radioactivity coming from the underground. We use Geiger-Miller counter and we measure radioactivity. The values are 100 times lower than the minimum allowed. Geopathogenic radiation coming from underground waters, none. Number 4, the signal for the cell phones. We can't live without the cell phones, but in some countries 3G, in most countries 4G, and now more and more countries 5G. So 3G 2.4 gigahertz, 4G 6 gigahertz, 5G 28 or 39 or 60, 6G it will be 300 gigahertz. These are radio waves. Our microwaves are working on radio waves. So we know that microwaves cause the cancer. They change our DNA. Very harmful for us. Well, in the tunnels, we don't have signal for the cell phone. In the tunnels, no signal for Wi-Fi, for internet. So no bad harmful radiations. What we do have are 4 very beneficial frequencies. The best electromagnetic frequency of 28 kilohertz. That's the frequency of our planet. Number 7, the best frequency of the ultrasound, also 28 kilohertz. In science, it is known as the levitation frequency. Number 8, extremely low frequency, ELF, of 7.83 hertz. In science, it is known as original Schumann resonance. Everything resonates. Our planet resonates. Nikola Tesla thought it was about 8 hertz. Austrian von Schumann, 50 years back, measured it exactly 7.83 hertz. And it was basically the only resonance of our planet until 1990s. But after that, so much bad electromagnetism and our bad technology, computers, laptops, tablets, cell phones, TVs, microwaves, our energy grid, American Project HARP. So much bad EM is emitted. It has to go somewhere. It goes to the ionosphere, putting a pressure on our mother planet. And she starts with a little bit higher frequency, 10 hertz, 12 hertz, 15 hertz, 18 or 20 hertz. When we think, our brain creates brain waves at 7.83 hertz. As long as our planet is at 7.83 hertz, it's in balance. If you have 12 or 15 or 18, you have disbalance, which causes the stress. You go to New York, you go to Munich, you go to Sarajevo, you have stress. You go to Bosnian Pyramid tunnels, they bring you back to the balance because there is 7.83 hertz over there. You go to, again, non-scientific sites like Wikipedia, they will claim, oh, there is no way that original Schumann resonance is changed, it's always 7.83 hertz. But guess what? Scientific instruments in Finland, Russia, and Bosnia have proven them wrong. It does change. And the element number 9, the negative ions. The negative ions are some extra electrons in atoms or molecules. So they are negatively charged. They are in the air. They connect with the dust. They become heavy and they go down to the floor. So they actually clean the atmosphere from dust, from pollen, from microbes like viruses, bacteria, fungi. And guess what? They clean our body from microbes that we don't want. viruses. Look what's been happening in the last couple of years. So the more negative ions, better for us. In our homes, in our studios, it's about 20, 30, or 50 negative ions per cubic centimeter. It's very low quantity. We go outside to the downtowns, to the big cities, it's about 150. It's fresher. We go to the top of the mountains, in the pine tree forests, about 1,000. In the Bosnian Pyramid tunnels, between 20,000 and 60,000 negative ions per cubic centimeter. So in those tunnels, it's 50 times healthier than on the top of the mountain in the pine tree forests. So now we have those 9 elements: the absence of 5 harmful radiations, presence of 4 good energy phenomena. And those 9 elements creates the safest and the healthiest place on the planet in this construction underground. The moment you get in, the body cells don't have enemies to fight with. Now they can start doing their job. What is their job? To fix the problems in our body. To start the regeneration process. To start detoxification process. Start self-healing process. Or if we get lucky, to start the rejuvenation process. Therefore, our second conclusion about the pyramid energy: to protect our health. Number 3, what is the most important liquid in our life? It's water, of course. We've discovered 5 tunnels with the water that's been exposed to the pyramid energies for thousands of years. Our friend Ken Rothla mentioned the Bosnian Pyramid water, which we compared to our city water and to our bottled water. Our city water and bottled water does not have viruses or bacteria. Why? Because it's been treated with the chlorine, and chlorine is a poison. In our city water, it's treated with the fluorides. What are the fluorides? Fluorides have been poisons for rats 60, 50, 40 years back. Exclusively. It was used as a poison. Why they put it in our city water beats me. Number 3, in our city water, traces of heavy metals. Where they're coming from? Well, the water goes somewhere in the mountain through the steel pipes. The water melts steel, iron. The water melts the plastic when it comes to our kitchen. So what we drink is energetically dead water. The bottled water is even worse because standards are even lower. The largest water producers in the world are Coca-Cola Company and Pepsi-Cola Company. What they do more additives like aluminum. And aluminum is the worst poison for our brain cells. It kills them. Less brain cells, we process the information slower, we are not getting any more intelligent, on the contrary, and they can manipulate and control us easier. Well, the Bosnian Pyramid water is not treated with any of those poisons. As a matter of fact, we do regular analysis every 3 months. It's perfectly safe, no viruses, no bacteria. And one more factor, pH. pH, as you know, on the scale from 0 to 14, 7 is neutral, below 7, it's acidic, above alkaline. Alkaline, good for our body. Acidic, no bueno. 7, we try to have our city water, usually it is about 7 or 6.5. Coke, Pepsi, Schweppes, tonic, it's 2.7. Ideal environment for the cancers. But our blood is not 7. Our blood is 7.45. And the water from the Bosnian Pyramid tunnels, 7.45. Ideal energetical water. And finally, we sent the samples to the late Dr. Masaru Emoto in Japan, 8 years back, just before he passed away. And he became very known since 1999. He would be taking different samples of water. And then he got that water frozen at minus 20 degrees Celsius. And then he would take a photograph through the electronic microscope. And he realized different samples have different molecular structure. So the city water has ugly molecular structure. It's low energy. Then the water from the contaminated rivers, the same thing. It's ugly to see how it looks like. Then the water which is exposed to the heavy metal music, very loud music, the water forms concentric circles like it's defending itself from this music. The water, when it's exposed to the music of Mozart, beautiful cosmic music, it shows hexagonal structure. Hexagon, the most powerful geometrical shape when it comes to the energies. The water, when you tell her, I love you, I love you, I love you, even city water can change the molecular structure to hexagonal structures. So now we can see that water has a memory. They have not been teaching us in schools about the water, and actually we need a new science about the water. And the molecular structure of the Bosnian Pyramid water is beautiful hexagonal structure with the crystal-like structures also, like a lot of Christmas trees, in these molecular structures. So our conclusion number 3 was the purpose of the pyramid energy is to improve the molecular structure of the water. Number 4, food. We did an experiment with the seeds of beans. And we had several groups. In one bag, the control bag, we placed that bag in our home. The second bag, we put in the underground tunnels. And the third one, on the top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. After 14 days of incubation, we were checking the germinization process. How many seeds will start growing? In the case of control group, 60%. What does that mean? It means that not every seed will start growing. And we know that, when you place the seeds of the flowers, or fruits, or vegetables, not every seed will start growing, 60%. But in the case of the seeds that were exposed to the pyramid energy in the tunnels and on the top of the pyramid, that percentage was 100. And once we planted it, and the season for the beans is from May until the beginning of September, we could see that the pyramid beans were growing 2 times quicker, richer, healthier. So the pyramid energy affects DNA of the plants. Our friend Ken Rolla did mention Professor Konstantin Korotkov, a brilliant scientist from University of St. Petersburg. He developed several instruments, and one of them is BioWell that Ken mentioned. We got that machine for the last 5 years, and this machine connects the Eastern traditions, India, Tibet, and China, and their concept of energy, and the Western technology. And we've measured more than 4,200 people before entering the tunnels and after coming back, after 1 hour spent in the tunnels. Our conclusion, 90% of the cases, we could notice the improvement of our bioenergy field, or colloquially called auric field, 90%. In most cases, people would come with the auric field, which was discontinued in several places. Why? Because of the stressful environment they lived in. And after 1 visit, we could see a big improvement. The second element are chakras, 7 chakras, the level of our physical body. Chakras usually, instead of being balanced, because of the daily life of majority of the people, either move to the left or to the right. After 1 visit, they come closer to balance. Plus, they open up much more. If they open, the energy will flow quicker and richer, and it's going to affect all our bodies, including our physical bodies and the blood circulation. It will be better, and we will be healthier. The third element that we measure is the level of stress. Again, many people have less stress level after visiting the tunnels. The fourth element, energy in the cells. We have more energy, we can fight the enemies in our body. So our conclusion, the pyramid energy does affect those 4 different elements in our life. The next one, it raises the immunity of our body. As we can see in the last 2 years, the key word was not a vaccine, but immunity. The next element, the pyramid energy, clean the atmosphere. The next one, it does affect our social abilities. It improves our spiritual abilities. Besides 5 physical senses, we have 30 spiritual senses. And finally, it does affect our social relationships. Again, Ken did mention the Russian scientist, Dr. Vladimir Golod. When I visited him in Moscow 10 years back, he was telling me about an experiment he did with the kitchen salt. He built 16 pyramids. In the biggest one near Moscow, he placed 5 tons, 12,000 pounds, 5 tons of kitchen salt. After 1 month, he took the salt to the nearby prison. He signed a contract with the government. There were 6,000 prisoners. It was a huge prison over there. And he asked the department chiefs to give prisoners salt during breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Only salt. After 3 months, he went back. He asked them if they could notice any changes. It was amazing what he heard. They told him that the level of violence was reduced to 0%. Well, it's a big prison, 6,000 prisoners. It means a lot of knives. People love to play with the knives or guns in the prisons. Violence was reduced to 0% because of the food which was exposed to the pyramid energy. Next year, he went back to renew the contract. And the government told him that they were not interested in renewing the contract. What does that mean? Does it mean that they want us to be violent so they can keep using their instruments like police, army, governments, and ministries, and inspections? The point is, the ancients did not build such monumental structures to bury one dead body, that one of the king or pharaoh. They built them to serve the generations of living communities and to last thousands of years. My research of the pyramids all around the planet, on all 6 continents, have shown me that the oldest pyramids are always the biggest and the most superior, not the opposite, like they try to present us. We don't see evolutionary trends in the pyramid science. On the contrary, it seems that the knowledge about the pyramids and the pyramid power has been brought to us, to this planet, long time ago, much before the end of the last ice age. 12,000 years back, at the end of the last ice age, 99% of people were wiped off from the face of the planet. It was not only the biblical flood, but also the earthquakes and volcanic eruptions on unimaginable scale. Only few of those who hid themselves in underground tunnels and in the natural caves on the top of the mountains survived. And they had to start from the beginning. And this is what we call Mesolithic times and then Neolithic times. But before this date, we did have advanced civilizations as well. We can call them Atlanteans, Lemurians, Motherland Mu, Og, and the others. Before that, there was another cyclus of humanity, 18,500 years back. And before that, another one, 34,000 years ago. At that time, very destructive solar flames were burning the surface of the planet. A huge cataclysmic event. And before that, 55,000 years ago, we also had global catastrophe. Something like huge chemical warfares. And before that, 75,000 years ago, a huge volcanic eruptions in Indonesia. You could not see the sky for hundreds of years. So in the last 100,000 years, instead of linear human evolution, we have cycle after cycle after cycle. That's another thing we need to change in our history. And the pyramids were always playing crucial role. For our planet, 4-sided pyramid is the most powerful structure because it amplifies the energies. When I say energy, that is something that is measurable. As you could hear so far, I did mention electromagnetic energy, electrical, we have magnetic only, we have ultrasound, we have infrasound, we have orgone energy, and everything is measurable. In the case of the Bosnian pyramids, orientation, the most precise in the world. Concrete blocks, the hardest, the best quality in the world. The shape, perfect geometrical shape. We have equilateral triangles all over the place. We have golden section spiral, 2 of them in the Bosnian Valley of Pyramids. But this discovery is so huge, it's a history changing. It's too much for the most of the mainstream archaeologists, geologists, and historians. Who rules the present? Those who control the past. These are not small countries. These are not small non-profit foundations. These are not small people like myself, but elites. Number one, English elites. Later on, German and American. Few people behind the scene. They rule the past, they rule the present, and they're ready to rule the future. It's up to us if we are going to allow them. So the history was different. What is their interest in hiding the history? Well, if they claim that we are only just a few thousand years old as a civilization, then we are still in our baby, infant phase. And we need leadership. We need to give them our human rights so they can lead us. Imagine this scenario. If we are able to connect somehow, spiritually or in other way, or if we find artifacts like they've been found under the Giza Plateau in a 1999 Atlantean library. So if we are able to connect to the previous times, we would be asking the questions, their technological level, scientific level, spiritual level, what they believe in, if they knew about the God, divine forces. And once they realize they were spiritually way ahead of us, technologically ahead of us, the way they would transport the big blocks, manipulate with huge quantities of materials, creating very specific frequencies of communication for healing. Then, once that knowledge becomes common knowledge, then the elites cease to exist. Why? As long as they have monopoly on knowledge, there will be elites behind the scene. As long as they have concept of the energy, like today, they will have more than 90% of the resources of the planet. Look at our concept of the energy in the last couple of 100 years. Coal, thermal power, dirty energy. Oil and gas, limited resources, dirty industries. Not only exploration and transport, but also refineries, petrochemical industry, pharmaceutical industry, automobile industry, chemical industry, plastic, food industry, water industry, because they put those additives. Then we have nuclear energy, or as Homer Simpson says, nuclear energy. Nuclear energy from Chernobyl to Fukushima and back. They've been contaminating our planet with the millions and millions of liters of radioactive water. And Japanese are sending this water to the Pacific Ocean daily. Everything we do about the energy is wrong. And they sell it to us, common citizens, for a lot of money. Result, we have 2,500 super billionaires. And 90% of us living from paycheck to paycheck. Once we change the concept of energy, not only the industry as we know it will collapse, but the social relationship will collapse as we know it today as well. It is the way to more human society, where we all have access to the knowledge, to the clean and free, unlimited energy. So the story about the Bosnian pyramids is not about the archaeology. That's how we started back in 2005 and 2006. It's not only about the energy aspect, because we realized you need to have interdisciplinary scientific approach. It's not only about the science, but it is also about the spirituality. It is about the healing aspect. It's about different concept of energy. It's about different concept of life in the future. Now, in the practical life, how does the pyramid amplify the energy? Well, below the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, there is a huge iron plate. Iron generates electromagnetic field. The pyramid amplifies this field. How do we know that? Because we have measured it at the base and thank you, and at the top of the pyramid.
Bless you. Bless
Thank you. At the top, electromagnetic field is 50 times stronger. It amplifies the natural source of the energy. Under the Bosnian Pyramid, we have underground water flow. Water moves, it releases negative ions. The pyramid amplifies the negative ion concentration. How do we know? Well, we purchased 2 instruments called Air Ion Counter, manufacturer Alpha Lab from the US, and it shows the highest concentration of negative ions in the world. And then we have the second underground water flow. The first one, 55 feet, the second one, 200 feet under the pyramid. In between, we have friction, electricity, we have charge. The pyramid pulls this electricity. It's going through 7 levels of passageways in the pyramid, going to the very top of the pyramid, creating that energy beam, which is electrical in nature, 28 kilohertz frequency, Tesla's scalar waves. During our archaeological research, we've discovered a lot of quartz crystal under 4 feet of soil, the pyramid walls, and in the underground tunnels. And quartz crystal has the ability to transform the energy from one form to another. For example, our barbecues at home. If you remember, we press the black button, then we can see electricity going out. We turn on the gas, and then we got the fire. And then we make a nice barbecue. What did we actually do? We pressed the piece of quartz crystal. So we applied the mechanical waves, and it transformed this mechanical waves through the process called piezoelectrical effect into the electricity. Well, the Bosnian pyramid builders knew about this ability of the quartz crystal and piezoelectrical effect. Just in their case, they knew that they had electromagnetic field, 28 kilohertz, hitting the quartz crystal, producing ultrasound. And we measured ultrasound on Bosnian pyramids. And very important element is orgone energy. Ken did mention orgone energy as very important. Now, until William Reich, many years back, or 85 years back, people knew that it has to be some energy, some substance, omnipresent, outside and inside, that brings us the vitality. In Eastern traditions, it's called prana or chi. William Reich called it orgone or life energy. And he made the first machine, instrument, to measure the level of orgone energy, which actually works as the scale from 0 to 100%. So for example, if our contaminated cities are at 20%, villages 50%, the Bosnian pyramids and the Bosnian pyramid tunnels are at 100%. And this is exactly what we measure with a special instrument called experimental life energy meter, also made in the US. So as we can see, what we do in the Bosnian Pyramid Project, we do archaeological digging and we measure using scientific instruments. And if you can measure it, then you can prove it. For example, this energy beam on the top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, it's been measured by teams, independent teams at different times from Serbia, Croatia, Italy, Finland, and Germany. When different teams of scientists come with their different equipment at different times, and they all get the same results, it is called international scientific verification of the phenomena. So I know that some historians and archaeologists in the mainstream science and some independent researchers doubt that pyramid could exist in Bosnia. But in science, the only thing that matters is the scientific arguments. Their opinions are irrelevant. And then what affects their opinions? It can be lack of knowledge. You know, they need now to change their narrative. Egyptian pyramids are not tombs for the pharaohs, no kings, no princesses, no generals. Instead of that, it has to be science. In some cases, of course, jealousy. You have some of the independent researchers, very famous from 1990s, for example, and now all of a sudden, there is a new generation of scientists, because they were not scientists, they were writing about the stuff, and they were very important, of course, because they were opening our eyes. But we need really scientists at the different archaeological sites. For example, Dr. Danny Hillman, he discovered pyramids in Indonesia. He has PhD in geology and geophysics. Then Valery Uvarov, Konstantin Korotkov, Russian scientists, they knew a lot about the pyramids. Our friend Michael Tellinger, you know, he applies science in Adam's calendar and the stone circles. And of course, the Bosnian pyramid projects. So it is not like if I go to Egypt, I need to ask permission. And this is what this generation from 1990s, that's what they were doing. You know, they would ask for permission, and if they were granted to see a little bit of the tunnels or inside the pyramids, that they were, you know, writing bestsellers. Oh, I got exclusive rights to see. Well, it's not about that. In our case, everything is open, no confidentiality. You know, people don't need to ask us permission to do anything. As a matter of fact, we have opened the project for the volunteers from all over the world. People can come, they can dig with us, they can discover the best quality concrete blocks, prehistorical tunnels, artifacts, organic materials. It's totally different concept. And I can understand jealousy, people angry, the lack of knowledge and so on. It doesn't matter. Today, we might look revolutionary for some people in our generation. But I know also that 20 or 50 years from now, people will be laughing at me how little I knew about the pyramids. And this is normal. So our work, you do something new, you got new discoveries, but that's just a piece, that's just one puzzle of the much, much wider picture. But what we've been doing is really history changing. Pyramids are not tombs, and we have scientific arguments to confirm that. And these are very specific purposes of the pyramid energies. and they tell us that somebody much smarter and more advanced than us was building those structures, and they were much more than structures. They were energy machines, and it is also possible that they were alive in the sense. When I mentioned that the energy beam of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun is actually following the path of our sun, does that mean that there is a communication between our planet and our sun? And through our sun, is it possible that the ancients were using it as the cosmic gate to communicate with other solar systems and other star constellations and other galaxies? And when it comes to communication, it's always two-way communication. First one, the information going from our planet. The second one, the pyramids are not only emitters, they act as the antennas. So they were receiving information, two-way. Is it base for something that we can call cosmic internet? It is very possible. And then, of course, our planet is not the only one that was using pyramid energy. If you are point A, it had to be point B and C and D and so on, meaning more advanced civilizations traveling the universe long time back. So I hope that in 21st century, we're going to establish new science, the real pyramid science, and that we're going to learn from the past in order to improve our present. Thank you.
Absolutely beautiful. Oh my gosh. I could just listen to you all day long. Thank you so much for all the incredible knowledge and wisdom and proof. I mean, scientific correspondence and study directly and from others that you've brought to us today, and just all the rare insights that we're slowly integrating as humanity here are waking up. And I hope that everyone will get to experience this knowledge and this clarity that you're bringing here today on so many levels. We have a couple of questions here. Let's just see if we can sneak those in the next couple minutes before we bring on the wonderful Charlie Zeiss. Or Zeiss, I think is the way he says it. So let's see, open questions. Oh, there's a few. Let's see. Okay. Why is the Pyramid of the Sun in Teotihuacan, Mexico, not oriented exactly to the north? It's about 7 degrees off. And if your responses could be brief, that would be helpful.
Yes.
I'm sure it could be lengthy.
Majority of the pyramids have perfect orientation. All Chinese pyramids, 250 of them, all Egyptian pyramids, 155 of them, most of the Peruvian, 20% of the Mexican, 80%, and among them, Teotihuacan, which is 1 hour drive to the north from Mexico City, does not have that orientation to the cardinal points. Sometimes they were oriented to some cosmic phenomena. In most cases, the sunrise or sunset during the summer solstice or winter solstice, or even during the spring or the fall equinox.
Got it. Okay. And now Stella is saying, can you elaborate more about how the pyramids are oriented to the north? Do you mean the entrance of the pyramids? And also, are the pyramids in the south hemisphere oriented to the south?
No, entrance is something different. The side of the pyramid is oriented to the cardinal points, east, west, north, south. As far as the entrances, in most cases, like in Egypt, there are northern entrances. But we have to bear in mind that in most cases, all entrances have not been discovered yet. But the north is one of the logical choices, sometimes even west. Why west? Because they would be following the path of the sun. So sun going down, especially during the summer nights, midsummer. In the case of the southern hemisphere, we have very similar situation. For example, the pyramids in the Mauritius, they are also oriented to summer solstice, but the summer solstice in their case, it's not June 21st, but December 21st, sometimes December 22nd.
All right, that is absolutely amazing. And so many details, so the fine details, I'm sure there's so many different things, like Ken was saying earlier, the three pyramids in Giza are slightly different angles to accommodate slightly different purposes. So
the angles of the pyramids are anywhere from 28 degrees, as the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, all the way to 72, like Nubian pyramids. The Khufu pyramid, the Great Pyramid of Egypt, of course, is 52 degrees and almost 52 minutes. Some others, like Red Pyramid in Dakshur, is 43 degrees. Bent Pyramid, that's interesting. They have 43 and 54 degrees. So it seems that the ancients were playing with the slope. Why is that important? Once we realize that it was always about the energy, then we will know that pyramid was creating not only energy being through the top, but also energy flow in the middle of the pyramid. So the energy would flow, hitting 1/3 of the height, going to 2/3, coming back to 1/3, and going down, completing the circle. The place where the energy would hit the pyramid was very important. That slope, like in the case of the bent pyramid, this is the place where they actually bent the pyramid. So by changing the angle, what they were getting, the energy was going quicker in that part of the pyramid. So it was an energy machine, and we have to change the perception, the concept of the pyramid to understand this energy flow.
so much to learn. It's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And
Now, I read the comment, somebody says, oh, I want to go to Bosnia. Of course you want to go to Bosnia. When people hear me, it's not about me, it is about the pyramid, calling people, inviting them to come. You know, there were years when we would have 400 or 500 volunteers. So far, 3,500 of them from 63 countries and 6 continents. When I talk to them, and they are different educational background, different gender, different age. When I ask them why they come to Bosnia, always the same answer. They said it was inner calling.
yes.
When I heard about the Bosnian pyramids, I simply wanted to go there, like I had something to do with them. And of course, we all have something to do with them in our past lives. So the war is far, far from here. Ukraine is thousands and thousands of miles from here. Bosnia is safe. Bosnian pyramids and our complex Rame with the Rame tunnels, it's the island of peace and freedom in every sense. In the last 2 years, no masks, no discrimination. People love it, only the smiles on their faces. Some people from US are organizing tours to Bosnia, like Marta, our friend, globalpyramidnetwork.com. People can go to our websites, Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun.com, and or they can simply show up, and there's no problem there. They found on the booking places in Visoko, Bosnia. They book for a week, for 10 days, and everything is nearby. We have about 35 tourist guides to show them the locations, to show them the pyramids, to show them the tunnels. People come for the therapies. They stay for a week or for 10 days. They go twice to the tunnels, an hour in the morning, 1 hour in the afternoon. In the meantime, we built a beautiful park. The entrance is for free. The water fountains, labyrinths of energy, labyrinths of love, labyrinths of health. We have places to meditate, places for yoga, the concerts, the culture, the sports. People love our place.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I am so looking forward to being able to come myself in person. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much again. And I have put your link onto, let's see, what did I put in here? I put in, we're not going to have time for any more questions today. SemirOsamanagic.com.
Yeah, that's fine.
And does it have a H on the end? Or I think I copied it from the website.
Well, you have also Sam Osamanagic with the H, CH, samosamanagic.com. That's my my official website. Yeah, they can go there. There are links to other, BosnianPyramids.com and stuff like that. But that one is fine. Whatever you place there, that's fine. And through that site, they can find another one. And they can, contact us. We'll be happy to answer the questions.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for being on again. I look forward to our next time together, and have a beautiful rest of your evening too. Much love and many blessings, Dr. Sam.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy.
Absolutely.
Thank you.